The scorching earth seems to swallow every footstep. The air is thick, suffocating, an invisible warning. At the only place where a glimmer of hope remains, the weak and the strong must face each other. Every drop of water that falls is a crack between life and death. Tense eyes, stalking bodies, no one is allowed to be careless for even a single breath. Just one moment of inattention, and the darkness will instantly swallow you whole. And the question echoes, who will still be standing when dawn breaks? As the midday sun beats down on the savannah, turning the air into a shimmering veil, a calculated silence falls. Hidden in the golden yellow grass, their coats blending perfectly with the landscape, the lions are waiting. The lion is the only big cat that lives and hunts in social groups called prides, a complex structure that allows them to take down prey larger and more dangerous than any solitary predator would dare to dream of. In lion society, it is the females who undertake 85 to 90% of the hunting. Their bodies are perfect machines for lightning-fast ambushes, built for short but terrifying bursts of power, capable of accelerating up to 50 miles per hour. Today, their target is a herd of African buffalo, moving walls of horn and muscle, known for their ferocity and solidarity. The hunt begins not with a roar, but with absolute silence. The pride quietly splits up, executing a deadly pincer movement that has been honed over generations. A few act as decoys, while the most expert hunters silently encircle, isolating a large buffalo on the edge of the herd. And then, the attack explodes like a storm. Dust flies as a whirlwind of tawny-colored fur launches at the prey. It is a battle of pure power, A lioness leaps onto the buffalo's back, her claws digging in to maintain her balance against the frantic bucking. The others simultaneously attack the hind legs and the flanks, coordinating to bring down the nearly 1-ton giant. When the colossal buffalo finally succumbs to exhaustion and blood loss, a decisive bite to the throat ends the struggle. As the dust settles, the alpha male, with his majestic mane, leisurely approaches. His role is not to chase, but to protect the territory and the pride. After a successful hunt, he has the right to eat first, his possessive roar enough to deter any scavenger, even the most numerous hyena clans. The diet of the lion reflects their dominant status, favoring large mammals such as the African buffalo, the zebra, and the wildebeest. The feast of the rulers begins, but on the savannah, no feast is a private affair. High in the sky, dark spots begin to appear, circling patiently. They have smelled death from miles away. The vultures have sensed death, ready to clean up what is left, closing the circle of life on the savannah. In the dry season, the savannah contracts around the few remaining waterholes. The daytime temperature soars to over 95 degrees Fahrenheit. A giraffe lowers its nearly 6-foot-long neck to drink, slowly but always alert. A Nile crocodile lies still for hours, waiting for a single mistake. A hippopotamus defends its territory with a gaping jaw, revealing a bite force of over 1,800 pounds force. Above, an African fish eagle circles and dives as soon as it spots the shadow of a fish. The spotted hyena waits patiently, ready to close in on any lone or weary wanderer. Each creature comes here with a plan of its own. These waterholes are the fragile boundary between life and death. But the real trap awaits beneath the still water's surface. Imagine you are driving through the vast grasslands of the savannah, where the dry season sun scorches the earth and every blade of grass trembles. In the midst of that endless space, a waterhole suddenly appears. Here, a vibrant gathering takes place. Elephants, zebras, giraffes, antelopes, and even nocturnal wanderers like the black rhino converge, creating a lively dance. The waterholes on the savannah can form naturally or be created by human intervention. Sometimes they are also formed by the elephants themselves. They often dig the earth in search of minerals. Over time, these small pits can develop into long-term water sources, creating miniature ecosystems. In addition, the large national parks and wildlife reserves across Africa have proactively built hundreds of artificial waterholes. In Kruger National Park in South Africa, in the 1980s, about 300 waterholes and 50 reservoirs were developed. Meanwhile, in Namibia's Etosha National Park, the landscape is dominated by a vast, dry salt pan. Here, the system of waterholes is more evenly balanced between natural and artificial sources. Some of Etosha's most iconic waterholes have become gathering points for wildlife and destinations for tourists from all over the world. These sites are often illuminated at night, offering people a rare opportunity to witness quiet, magical moments. As the first light of dawn breaks, the African savanna enters one of the few cool moments of the day. In the dry season, the temperature usually ranges from 57 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. At this time, the air is still, the ground has not yet heated up. This is the characteristic hour for the arrival of the small, cautious herbivores. They come early to take advantage of the quiet when the predators have not yet begun their activity. This is the springbok, one of the earliest visitors to the waterhole. They never travel alone, always in groups. Each one keeps just enough distance to avoid being trapped if something goes wrong. Every time it bows its head to drink, it lasts only a few seconds, then it looks up again, ears pricked, muscles tense. When agitated or excited, the springbok leaps high into the air from 6 to 10 feet, with an arched back and the white patch of fur along its spine erect. It is a message to the predator, "I see you." Footage from the camera systems shows that they only spend brief moments at the waterhole, unlike species like the zebra that stay longer. This short window of exposure significantly reduces the risk of being ambushed. And as caution retreats, another commotion immediately fills the air. As the cautious antelopes retreat, the stage is left to a smaller but much more energetic animal. Each flock usually consists of 10 to 25 individuals moving together as a cohesive social unit. This noisy presence can even benefit the herbivores like the impala or the wildebeest by giving them an early warning. The alarm call of a guinea fowl can travel up to 164 yards in open terrain. Although they have wings and can fly short distances, guinea fowls usually prefer to run when escaping from threats. They can sprint at speeds of up to 22 miles per hour and have the ability to change direction quickly. Their diet also plays a crucial ecological role. Mainly feeding on seeds, tubers, and insects, guinea fowls are also capable of catching small reptiles. The muddy belt around the waterholes is an ideal place to forage, especially in the dry season when insects are attracted to the moisture-rich areas. By concentrating their foraging on the water's edge, the guinea fowl minimizes the risk of getting too close to the water's edge. It is estimated that there are about 28 to 30 million individuals in the wild. Most live outside of protected areas and have adapted well. Amidst the noisy chaos of the ground birds, a completely opposite presence approaches, tall, majestic, and almost absolutely silent. Unlike many other herbivores that tend to move in the early morning or late afternoon, the giraffe mainly drinks from noon to late afternoon. It is a strategic choice. Predators are less likely to be lurking near the waterholes during the midday hours, as lions, leopards, and hyenas usually retreat to the shade to rest. With its superior height, the giraffe can spot danger from afar. But in the vulnerable drinking posture, they are temporarily exposed. They do not keep their heads down for long. Each sip lasts only a few seconds, quick, deliberate, always followed by a lift of the head to scan the surroundings. In larger groups, some individuals remain standing as temporary sentinels while the others drink. The height, the most prominent feature of the giraffe, is both an advantage and a challenge. Thanks to its stature, the giraffe can feed on the leaves at the tops of trees that most other herbivores cannot reach, especially the thorny acacia leaves. To handle these thorny meals, the giraffe uses its long, dark purple tongue, which is from 18 to 20 inches long. They do not migrate long distances like some of the larger antelopes, but giraffes do move seasonally, traveling between wet and dry areas. However, despite their enormous size, giraffes have a surprisingly light ecological footprint. Their presence at a waterhole is like a long shadow under the midday sun, quiet, calm, and respectfully distant. They avoid waterholes with steep banks, deep pools, or obscured views. But even a wide view cannot hide the ambusher beneath the water's surface. Instead, they prefer gentle slopes, clear water, hard ground, and a wide field of vision. Behind or from the sides. It lurks right in front of them, perfectly camouflaged as a floating log, waiting for that single moment of vulnerability. As the sun climbs high and the temperature quickly rises past 86 degrees Fahrenheit, the savanna transitions to a harsher rhythm of life. The air becomes dry and sharp. The sunlight whitens the ground and the waterhole loses its early morning tranquility. Its muddy bottom is stirred up by dozens of herds, zebras, wildebeest, buffalo, arriving one after another, turning the surface into a murky mixture. Beneath that murky water, peace is but a fragile illusion. The adult individuals, over 13 feet long, lie silently near the bank, with only their eyes and nostrils above the water, observing without being seen. They do not need to move much. Just a well-timed upward snap as a gazelle lowers its head is enough to pull the prey under the water. This predator is a master of stillness, the Nile crocodile. With a single lunge, attacking at a speed of up to 40 feet per second, the prey is pulled under the water before it can even cry out. Instead of chasing, it conserves energy through patience and concealment. With a body that can be over 16 feet long and weigh more than 1,500 pounds, they have enough strength to drag an adult zebra into the water instantly. As cold-blooded animals, Nile crocodiles cannot regulate their own body temperature. They are completely dependent on their surroundings. When the water temperature is around 86 to 91 degrees Fahrenheit, they lie motionless, conserving heat and minimizing energy loss. But when the temperature rises above 93 degrees Fahrenheit, they crawl onto the bank and open their mouths wide, a behavior known as gaping. Not to threaten, but to cool down. The moisture evaporating from their open mouths helps to release heat without the need for sweat. The adaptability of the Nile crocodile is the product of millions of years of evolution. Recent genetic studies have shown that the Nile crocodile today is not a homogeneous population, but a mixture of at least two distinct genetic lineages. One lineage is dominant in eastern and southern Africa. The other is now recognized as a separate species common in the western and central regions. Their diet reflects a progression through their life stages. Young crocodiles under 5 feet long feed mainly on insects. As they grow, reaching about 6.5 feet, they switch to fish, crabs, and amphibians. When fully mature, they begin to hunt primates, antelopes, and even young buffalo, prey that can weigh over 220 pounds. The diet evolves with the size and strength of the jaw, but the strategy remains the same: wait and strike with precision. A crocodile lies completely motionless, with only its eyes and nostrils above the water. No one sees it move. But at the larger water holes, the hippos enter as if they own the place. They do not swim. They glide across the muddy bottom. Their massive bodies create gentle ripples on the surface. There is no friendship between these two species, but there is no war either, at least not when each knows its place. The hippo is too large to be prey. The crocodile is too dangerous to be trifled with. They coexist like difficult neighbors. But sometimes that fragile balance breaks when the waterhole shrinks too much in the dry season. When every square foot of water becomes as precious as gold, conflict is inevitable. As the dry season drags on across the savanna, the earth cracks under the scorching sun, and the hippopotamus herds begin to make their way to the last remaining waterholes. These are not just places to quench a thirst. They are sanctuaries, lifelines in a world that is desperately running out of water. At the peak of the afternoon, when the air temperature can rise above 104 degrees Fahrenheit, the hippos are completely submerged in the warm water, keeping their body temperature stable. With their massive size, thick skin, and almost no sweat glands, the water becomes their only shield against overheating and dehydration. Each adult hippo can weigh over 3,300 pounds, but they are not clumsy in the water. Although they cannot swim like a fish, they move efficiently by walking on the bottom, using their strong legs to push themselves forward. This method allows them to stay submerged for hours, surfacing only for a moment to take a breath before diving back down. Their water-dependent lifestyle turns the waterhole into the focal point of almost all their activities during the dry season. But as the surface area shrinks, the space between individuals begins to close and tensions rise. The dominant males, which are territorial, begin to assert their control with powerful shoves, underwater clashes, or full-blown confrontations. In such a confined space, even the act of gaping can signal a challenge. This sound, whether a grunt or a roar, echoes over the water, piercing the heavy air and traveling for hundreds of yards. Among the individuals, territorial marking plays a crucial role. Hippos have a unique way of doing this with their dung. As the environmental pressure increases, these signals become more important than ever, helping the individuals to avoid unnecessary conflicts. Such waterholes are often located in crucial areas of the African continent, where hippos are widely distributed along the rivers, lakes, and floodplains. However, in recent decades, that range has gradually shrunk due to habitat loss and increasing pressure from humans. Beyond their love for the water, hippos actively reshape their ecosystem. As they move through the landscape, they inadvertently create new channels, directing the flow of water and helping to retain moisture in the soil. But the survival story of the hippo is not just limited to the daylight hours. As night falls and the moonlight shimmers on the still water, the hippos begin to leave the waterhole, heading inland to graze. They can travel from 3 to 6 miles in a single night in search of food, always returning before dawn. In the shadows, predators like the lion, the leopard, and the spotted hyena begin to move towards the waterholes. Unlike the pack-hunting lion or the speed-reliant cheetah, the leopard has a different approach, moving silently through the tall grass at the edge of the waterholes. After a quiet rest and drink at the now cool waterhole, the leopard begins its hunt. It climbs the nearby trees, the leopard may not be the fastest runner, but it is a master climber. With its sharp, retractable claws, it grips the bark like a seasoned mountaineer. Its golden eyes reflect the moonlight, thanks to a reflective layer of tissue in the retina, which enhances its vision in low-light conditions. Unlike many predators, leopards do not frequent the waterholes to drink. They know these are risky places. But as ambush predators, they turn these very places into natural traps. The waterhole attracts impalas, bushbucks, and warthogs. And all it takes is a single mistake, a moment of inattention for the prey to fall into the claws of one of the stealthiest hunters. The leopard's body is made for agility and surprise. Although smaller than a lion or a tiger, an adult male can weigh from 66 to 143 pounds. Its pale, yellowish-brown coat is covered in irregular rosette patterns, making it almost invisible in its surroundings. In the twilight, this camouflage becomes a perfect shield, allowing it to disappear among the bushes, the tree trunks, or the rocky ledges by the water's edge. Sometimes, it may only move a few steps in several minutes, its eyes fixed on its target, its ears alert to the slightest sound. And when the distance is close enough, usually just a few yards, it launches forward at a speed of up to 37 miles per hour. What sets the leopard apart is its ability to carry its prey up a tree. After a successful hunt, it uses its immense strength to drag its prey, sometimes twice its own weight, up to a high, sturdy branch. This behavior protects its meal from lions, spotted hyenas, or African wild dogs, and provides a quiet place to eat without being disturbed. This is part of the reason why the leopard thrives in so many ecosystems, from dense jungles to open grasslands and rocky hills. Their diet is almost limitless. As opportunistic predators, leopards eat everything from insects, rodents, birds, and fish to ungulates. Historically, the leopard roamed throughout Africa and a large part of Asia. But by 2025, they have disappeared from at least 13 countries and are on the verge of extinction in 7 others. Across Africa, they now inhabit only 25 to 37% of their original range, with the highest numbers in Tanzania, Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa. One of the most notable ecological roles of the leopard. As a mid-level predator in the food chain, they help to control the populations of ungulate species. However, they face fierce competition. In areas like the Sabi Sand, about 22% of leopard fatalities are caused by lions, while spotted hyenas steal nearly 50% of their kills. Although long known as scavengers, modern studies show that the vast majority, from 70 to 95% of the spotted hyena's diet, comes from their own hunts. Prey such as wildebeest, buffalo calves, and Thompson's gazelles can fall victim even when not injured or weak. Unlike the big cats like the lion or the cheetah, which rely on bursts of acceleration and sudden attacks, the spotted hyena is a master of endurance. With a large heart, solid muscle mass, and powerful hind legs, they can pursue their prey at a speed of 37 miles per hour for a long distance. The chase is not a quick sprint. It is a war of attrition, wearing down the prey bit by bit. They take turns leading the chase, never letting their target rest. And as the animal begins to tire, the pack closes in. When the prey falls, a feeding frenzy erupts. The whole clan rushes forward, noisy, chaotic, and aggressive. But even the bones are not wasted. With a bite force of up to 1,000 pounds force, the strongest among the land mammals, the spotted hyena easily crushes thick, heavy bones. Their teeth and jaws are made not just for tearing flesh, but for consuming what most other species leave behind. The hyenas take advantage of the opportunity to coordinate their hunts. They do not need to hide in the tall grass or the bushes. Instead, they apply pressure as a unit. Their coordination is built on sound. The high-pitched giggles, the short whoops, and the guttural growls are tactical calls like coded signals. To understand this level of coordination, it is important to know that spotted hyenas do not live alone. They form large clans of up to 80 individuals, led by a dominant female. The large clans have a clear advantage in defending their territory, taking down larger prey and even confronting other predators like lions or leopards. A particularly unique feature is their reproductive and hormonal system. The female possesses external genitalia that is very similar to that of the male, which has led to considerable confusion and directly shapes the female-dominated social structure. Their varied diet also plays a crucial role in their adaptability. The spotted hyena consumes everything from small mammals, birds and reptiles to insects and even human waste. Ecologically, the spotted hyena helps to regulate the populations of herbivore species, clean up carrion, and reduce the spread of disease. In the ecosystems where the lion dominates by strength and the leopard by solitary cunning, the spotted hyena thrives through unity. Their tactical calls, the high-pitched giggles. The short whoops are the language of coordination, the weapon that helps them to conquer prey much larger than themselves. Across the vast African savanna, their chorus of victory often echoes. But even that laughter falls silent when the monarch roars. And yet, there is one sound that can silence all the noise, a sound that makes the entire savanna hold its breath. It is not the chaotic call of a clan, but the solitary declaration of a monarch. When the thunderous roar of the lion is heard, it is not just a warning, but a command. Every creature, even the most numerous hyena clans, understands that true power has just spoken. The glorious return of the King of the Hunters. Recent ecological studies have found that vultures often fly at altitudes of 1,600 to 5,000 feet around the waterholes during the dry season. This is when the mortality rate of animals is high due to exhaustion, malnutrition, or injuries sustained while competing for water. From above, with a vision 3 to 4 times sharper than a human's, they can spot a wildebeest straying from its herd. Unlike the New World vultures, which rely heavily on their sense of smell, the African vultures are completely dependent on their sight. This effect can attract dozens or even hundreds of vultures in less than an hour. Their bald heads and necks allow them to reach deep into the chest cavity or the abdominal region of a carcass without their feathers getting matted or dirty. Their strong, curved beaks can tear through the thick hide of large animals like the African buffalo or the giraffe. A long, flexible neck allows them to access the most nutrient-rich organs, the liver, the heart, the intestines, which are full of protein and minerals. Their immune system is a biological marvel. With a stomach acid that has a pH close to 1, they can neutralize pathogens. Their migratory behavior is much more flexible than that of many other birds of prey. And then, another opportunist strides into the scene. They can travel for hundreds of miles to follow the movements of the wildebeest and the zebra, or to reach areas affected by drought. At the waterhole, the competition for food is not just between different vulture species, but also includes the marabou stork. Both feed on the carrion from the leftover prey of the predator, but the vulture has the advantage in numbers, tearing strength, and speed of arrival. They usually arrive just a few minutes after the vultures have started to gather. The marabous descend with a slow but determined gait, walking straight into the crowd. In many cases, that beak becomes a weapon used to push back the rivals and snatch the best pieces of meat. Their evolutionary adaptations are clearly reflected in their physical traits. Like many vultures, their head and neck are almost bald, sometimes with just a few downy feathers, which minimizes the risk of contamination. Their large, strong, and straight beak acts like a dagger, capable of cutting through tough muscle tissue and even killing small prey. Their diet shows how opportunistic they are. Besides scavenging, the marabou stork also eats fish, frogs, insects, lizards, nestlings, eggs, and rodents. They frequently forage in the garbage dumps near human settlements, where leftover food becomes a convenient source of energy. Sometimes they wait for the vultures to tear open the thick hide before stepping in to claim the softer tissues inside, saving effort and avoiding risk. At the waterhole, their role extends beyond scavenging. The marabou stork closely observes the weak or injured animals, attacking with quick pecks. They are also known to hunt for fish in the shrinking pools as the dry season deepens. But that long beak can also be a disadvantage, making it difficult to grip slippery fish in the muddy water. But high above, a pair of golden eyes is watching for every mistake. Perched motionless on a bare, sun-bleached branch, the African fish eagle locks its piercing golden eyes on the scene below. The splash of water and the flapping of wings become a signal too loud to ignore. The eagle leans forward slightly, spreads its 7.5-foot wingspan, and dives, the wind whistling as it descends. But it is not aiming for the fish in the water. It is aiming for the one holding it. A shrill cry tears through the air, and the marabou stalk freezes, glancing up for a split second. Just a moment's hesitation, and the fish slips from its beak, falling to the muddy ground. In a flash, the African fish eagle folds its wings and dives like an arrow, its legs extended, its talons lined with rough, horny scales. The African fish eagle is a close relative of the North American bald eagle. It is found widely throughout sub-Saharan Africa, from the Great Lakes like Victoria, Tanganyika, and Malawi, to the great rivers like the Nile and the Zambezi. Their movements are not long-distance migrations, but seasonal shifts driven by the availability of food. In the ecosystem, the African fish eagle plays a dual role. As a top predator of fish and waterfowl, and as both a scavenger and a kleptoparasite, taking advantage of the meals that others have caught. As the shadows of darkness fade over the still surface of the waterhole, the last sounds of the night begin to quiet. Only the harshness of the deep, dry season remains, tightening its grip on the savanna. The predators have retreated, leaving behind a heavy silence. This is the beginning of a new day, a day where the lines of survival are drawn ever more sharply. The savanna enters the most arid phase of the year, the deep, dry season, where all life is drawn to a single focal point, the waterhole. Under the increasingly intense sun, the shoreline recedes inward day by day, leaving behind a layer of cracked mud and a jumble of overlapping footprints. The small, shallow pools are the first to disappear. During prolonged droughts, the water level in many of the smaller holes drops steadily by 1 to 2 inches per day. In less than 2 weeks, a shallow depression can dry up completely. The remaining deeper, wider waterholes become the final gathering points of the savanna. Every species converges. Whether it is an elephant leading its herd across dozens of miles or an impala threading its way through the bush, all are drawn to the one dwindling source. No more boundaries between predator and prey. No more choosing a safer time to drink. No more space to keep a safe distance. The waterhole becomes nature's last supper. The Cape buffalo are often the first to arrive simply because they are rarely far away. They make their way to the waterhole through the arid African savanna. These buffalo are widely distributed across southern and eastern Africa, with a total population of African buffalo estimated at about 513,000 individuals. That number continues to decline, a long-term trend driven by habitat loss, hunting, and climate change. They have adapted through a strong herd lifestyle. The groups can range from a few dozen to over 1,000 individuals, with a clear social structure and hierarchy. As they approach the waterhole, their first instinct is to drink. They usually arrive in the early morning or late afternoon to avoid the scorching heat. The mud along the water's edge offers more than just refreshment. The Cape buffalo wallow in it to cool down, protecting themselves from flies, mosquitoes, and parasites. Once it dries, the mud acts as a natural suit of armor. This is also when social interactions occur most frequently. But the waterhole is anything but safe. This life-sustaining resource always brings competition. Sometimes the Cape buffalo confronts a rhinoceros. But when the true giants arrive, all must make way. The greater threat, however, comes from the elephants. When an elephant herd arrives, the Cape buffalo almost always retreat. They are simply not in the same weight class as the largest land mammals on Earth. And while the African elephant is known for its gentle nature, they can become very territorial, especially near a waterhole. They do not just come to drink, they come to survive, a space to cool down, to care for their bodies, and to maintain the bonds that hold the herd together. An adult elephant can drink from 40 to 80 gallons of water per day, using its trunk, the only tool it has, to suck up each mouthful and spray it into its mouth. The waterhole is not just a place to drink. They are natural spas, playgrounds, and social centers. The young calves play, the adults spray water on each other, and the younger males test their strength in harmless sparring matches. When the surface water runs out, the elephants dig deeper, using their tusks and front feet to break through the dry mud or sand in search of hidden underground water sources. In doing so, they not only save themselves, but often uncover water for other species as well. This behavior has earned the elephant the title of ecosystem engineer. They are widely distributed across Africa, with a continent-wide population estimated at about 415,000 individuals. However, from 1964 to 2016, the number of savanna elephants has declined by as much as 70%, and forest elephants by up to 90%, mainly due to habitat loss and poaching. Their migration is tied to the water. In the rainy season, the elephants wander far in search of fresh food. But as the dry season tightens its grip, they return to the most reliable waterholes. At the waterhole, the elephant reigns supreme. Their dominance can be forceful, even aggressive, but it is also how they secure the resources for their herd. Amidst the scorched plains of Africa, where the ground cracks like the skin of some ancient reptile, water is more precious than gold. The earth is cracked, the air vibrates. The waterhole, now just a shallow mud pit, becomes an arena for giants. An old bull elephant, his face patient but full of authority, approaches. But at the water's edge, a black rhino stands, its gaze defiant. Two monarchs of the savannah, each carrying the pride of its species, are now forced to confront each other for every precious drop of water. No roars, no howls, just a pressurized silence, a battle of wills where both know that a single small mistake could cost the weaker one dearly. Will the herd strength of the elephant subdue the solitary will of the rhino, or will its inherent stubbornness hold its ground? The unforgiving battle for life is happening right now. And in the dry dust, another figure steps out with a distinct toughness. The black rhino is not a species that is particularly attached to any one waterhole. They only seek out water during the quieter hours of the day. Each visit may last only a few minutes, enough to drink their fill before retreating to the safety of the surrounding bushes. In ideal conditions, they can drink up to 9 gallons of water per day. But in times of drought, they can go several days without drinking, relying instead on the moisture in the leaves they eat. The soft mud around the edge of the waterhole often bears their large, circular footprints. This cool, damp mud helps to regulate their temperature, and when it dries, it forms a natural shield that protects against UV rays and insects. Although largely solitary, the black rhino still leaves invisible messages around the waterhole. They mark the area with dung piles and by spraying streams of urine, signals that convey information about their sex and reproductive status. With a strong sense of territory and a volatile temperament, confrontations are often unavoidable. Encounters between two individuals can escalate into fierce battles, both using their sharp horns to attack. But in the dry season, access to water can be more precious than life itself. Then the sky changes, opening a new chapter of renewal. As the dry season ends, the sky over the savanna begins to change color. The first clouds of the season gather, heavy but full of promise. The first rains fall in light, scattered drops, then gradually become heavier and more regular, soaking the cracked earth. This is when the waterholes begin to transform. From shrunken mud puddles, they slowly fill, then overflow, pushing their boundaries wider day by day. No longer confined by the limits of the dry season, the waterholes expand, some doubling or even quintupling in size. The water is not just more abundant, but also cleaner. The heavy rains dilute the muddy bottom, washing away months of accumulated sediment. Around the waterholes, the landscape changes at a remarkable speed. In just 2 to 3 weeks of regular rain, fresh grass covers the ground. These young shoots are soft, tender, and rich in nutrients. An ideal food source for large herbivores like zebras, wildebeest, and buffalo. It is not just the local wildlife that responds. Migratory birds begin to arrive from Europe, Central Asia, and the Middle East. And on the new water's surface, a graceful bird begins a peculiar walk. The newly formed shallow waters quickly become feeding and breeding grounds for wading birds. This is the time when a bird known by the nickname Jesus bird, the African jacana, begins its remarkable journey. They do not fly in a hurry. They arrive gently, almost silently, leaving delicate, fine footprints like brushstrokes on the floating lily pads. The African jacana's ability to walk on floating vegetation is one of nature's most incredible feats. They have exceptionally long toes and slender claws, which help to distribute their body weight over a much larger surface area. The rainy season waterhole environment is an ideal setting for this bird. The spreading, still shallow waters are filled with a jumble of floating plants that form a vibrant labyrinth. The African jacana weaves through the gaps in the leaves, using its long beak to gently probe the underside in search of insects, larvae, and spiders. Each cluster of leaves is a world of its own, and the jacana is a patient, graceful hunter. Unlike most bird species, the African jacana follows a completely reversed breeding system. The female is the larger, more brightly colored individual and the one who dominates the territory. It maintains a large area in which several males reside. After mating, the female lays her eggs in a nest built by a male, then quickly moves on to repeat the cycle with other Meanwhile, the female is already in another corner of the waterhole, preparing for her next round of nesting. Instead of investing completely in one clutch, the female spreads the survival risk over multiple nests. And the male, although taking on the role of caregiver, is the key figure in preserving the species' genetic legacy. But this fragile peace is soon broken by a motionless grey shadow. After the African jacana has gracefully walked on the water, the scene opens up to fresh rainwater spreading across the savanna. In the stillness of the waterhole, a grey heron appears, as motionless as a statue in the shallow water. At nearly 3 feet tall with a wingspan that can be up to 69 inches, the grey heron is an unmistakable silhouette. And yet, when it stands perfectly still, blending in with the grey sky and the low bushes, it almost disappears from the sight of its prey. In the wet, slow rhythm of the rainy season, when everything softens and moves more gently, the grey heron's patient and silent hunting style becomes even more effective. It does not chase its prey. Instead, the heron uses an ambush strategy. It stands perfectly still, often on one leg, for many minutes. Beneath the murky water, fish, tadpoles, frogs, and insects go about their business, unaware that the long shadow above is waiting for the slightest movement. When the moment comes, the grey heron strikes with incredible speed. Its sharp, spear-like beak shoots down in a split second, precise and decisive. In the ever-moving ecosystem of the waterhole, the grey heron is not particularly picky about its meals. Fish is still the top choice, but if a shrimp, a crab, a small crustacean, or even a vole or a stray chick comes too close to the water's edge, it will not be ignored. The waterhole is also a social center for the grey heron. As the breeding season approaches, they gather in large groups, often nesting in tall trees near the water. A typical nest contains 3 to 5 pale blue eggs. After hatching, the chicks stay in the nest for 7 to 8 weeks until they are strong enough to spread their wings and fly. And yet, not all choose silence. Some turn the waterhole into a dance floor. Some are permanent residents, while others migrate from the temperate regions to the south when conditions become harsher. Although they share the color gray in both their plumage and their name, the gray-crowned crane exhibits a completely different lifestyle. As the ground begins to retain water after the first rains, these cranes land with their wings spread, carrying a regal presence. Unlike the silent hunters like the gray heron, this crane rarely stands still. It moves constantly along the water's edge, each step graceful but purposeful. With each firm stomp on the damp ground, the mud beneath vibrates. Insects, frogs, and other small creatures hidden under the surface are startled and emerge. This foot-stomping feeding method is a characteristic behavior demonstrating the bird's intelligence in actively interacting with its environment. Their diet has few limits, from grasshoppers and crickets to seeds, young grass, lizards, worms, and sometimes even bird eggs. In the heart of the flooded plains, the gray-crowned crane is not just here to hunt, it is here to connect, to belong. The individuals are often seen in pairs or small family groups. They gather around the shallow pools, sipping the clear water, basking in the sunday. In the stillness of the landscape, those calls travel far, creating a kind of primal music that only those who have heard it in person can truly understand. Researchers believe that these dances are not just mating rituals, they strengthen the bond between the lifelong partners. Although not a long-distance migratory species, the gray-crowned crane does move seasonally, following the water sources and the promise of lush vegetation. They are widely distributed throughout eastern and southern Africa. This bird is the national symbol of Uganda, appearing in the center of its flag in a proud posture, representing grace, composure, and national pride. In the wild, the gray-crowned crane lives for an average of 20 to 25 years, and in captivity, they can live up to 35 or even 40. However, Their status as a cultural icon does not come from their longevity, but from their refined demeanor, their complex social habits, and their unique ability to express emotion. Then suddenly, a brilliant red beak silently descends into the shallow water. The saddle-billed stork silently enters the shallow water. Its brilliant red beak, banded with yellow, glitters in the light. Unlike the ambush predators like the heron, the saddle-billed stork hunts with a more deliberate and active approach. It usually forages alone or in pairs, wading slowly through the shallow waters with a calm, focused demeanor. Its unhurried stride and sweeping gaze glide over the water's surface. But it is its large beak, nearly 12 inches long, that is the real hunting tool. Instead of striking randomly, the bird constantly dips its beak into the water, as if scanning for the slightest ripples beneath the mud. The moment the tip of the beak feels even the slightest twitch, be it a gentle flick of a catfish or a sideways crawl of a crab, the snap is instantaneous. When it catches a fish nearly half its own length, the stork will usually carry it to the bank, turning the fish with its beak to swallow it head first. At up to 5 feet tall, with a wingspan of nearly 8 feet, the saddle-billed stork is one of the largest birds in Africa. The males are generally heavier, averaging 14 pounds compared to the females' 13. An easy way to distinguish the sexes in the wild is by their eye color. Their preferred habitats are large, shallow wetlands, swamps, floodplain lakes, and seasonal river channels. The loss of wetland habitat, groundwater extraction, riverine deforestation, and agricultural runoff have shrunk their range. But the waterhole never stops. It continues to cycle, opening a new chapter of life and the battle for conservation. As the seasonal rains fill the natural depressions across the land, a waterhole is not merely a new pool on the savanna, it becomes the engine that restarts the entire ecosystem. From the nutrient-rich mud that attracts the return of aquatic life, to the lush green grasslands that draw the migrating herds, and even the arrival of the predators that follow their prey. In the rainy season, each waterhole becomes a biological crossroads from which life radiates. In the dry season, its role becomes even more crucial. Each day, the largest residents of the savanna need hundreds of liters of water just to regulate their body temperature and to survive. Even the species that can go longer without drinking rarely stray more than 2 days from a water source. In the dry season, when the average rainfall drops below 2 inches a month, the waterholes become essential gathering points. However, human intervention in the availability of water has not always produced the expected results. Studies have shown that the too even distribution of water sources has disrupted the natural movement patterns, putting pressure on the vegetation. Restricting the supply of artificial water is not about cutting off life. It is a strategy to restore balance. As the animals have to travel further to find water, the interval between the reproductive cycles of some of the largest species has increased. However, the role of a waterhole is not just to sustain wildlife. Thousands of animals drink, defecate, and urinate here, turning the area into a fertile strip of land. This cycle continues, tightly intertwined, silently precise, all without the need for a human hand. The waterhole is a lifeline, a gathering place, a battlefield, a stage, all existing in a small space, but connecting hundreds of species. To humans, it may seem like nothing more than a mud puddle, but for the wild world, it is where life begins, regenerates, and reconnects. And as the rains begin to dissipate across the savanna, where the ground cracks and the dry bushes struggle under the heat, the waterholes are no longer a gift of nature. They become a battlefield against disappearance. In these conditions, the conservation efforts are launched with urgency and innovation. In Kenya's Tsavo Conservancy, 2 new boreholes have been drilled deep into the earth, providing a stable source of water for the people, their livestock, and the countless herds of wildlife. In Zimbabwe's Hwang National Park, over 25 hybrid solar and diesel-powered pumps operate continuously, keeping the waterholes full even at night. In South Africa, the artificial waterholes are strategically placed based on the specific preferences of each species. Each drop of water is now no longer something that falls freely. It is preserved thanks to the joint efforts of science, the local communities, and the silent guardians. But that life cannot exist without the protective hand of humans. Conservation is not just the job of organizations. It begins with the awareness and the small actions of each individual. Because when the natural world suffers anywhere, we, wherever we are, also lose a part of ourselves. And if you have ever experienced an African safari, watching the rhinos and the elephants gather at a waterhole to quench their thirst, do not hesitate to share your knowledge and experiences. Your story could become the spark that ignites future conservation efforts. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to join us on our next extraordinary adventure. In the wilds of the Philippines, the struggle for survival is a constant, an endless cycle of life and endurance. In the ecosystem of the Palawan rainforest, the dense canopy is both a refuge and a battlefield for countless species. The Philippine spotted deer, with its brown coat flecked with white, moves silently through the dense undergrowth. High above, the Philippine eagle soars, its wings outstretched against the sky. And hidden beneath the leaves is the Philippine tarsier, tiny but incredibly resourceful. It moves through the branches with astonishing agility. It must always evade the eagle's sharp eyes, a predator that never loses sight of its target. Along the coast of the Verde Island Passage, the heart of the Coral Triangle, a giant whale shark glides gently, a gentle giant of the sea. But not all marine inhabitants are so placid. The tiny blue-ringed octopus, despite its modest size, carries a venom potent enough to stop a human heart. In the mangrove forests of Aurora, mudskippers dance on the water's surface like acrobats, seizing every opportunity to find food. Here, the crab-eating macaque faces the devastation of typhoons and the pressure of competition from other species. Meanwhile, the saltwater crocodile lies in ambush, its patience, a testament to its formidable predatory instinct. Every moment in this vibrant land is a relentless battle for survival. And every movement is a testament to the fierce vitality of nature. But these victories are fragile, demanding steadfast protection to ensure they are not the final notes of this symphony of life. Lying along the Pacific Ring of Fire, the Philippines is one of the most seismically active regions on Earth. It is not only home to over 20 active volcanoes, but is also the meeting point of 3 massive tectonic plates. The relentless collision of these plates millions of years ago gave birth to the Philippine archipelago. This process was like a master sculptor, constantly carving, erupting, and building to create towering mountains and deep valleys. The landscape of the Philippines is a diverse tapestry, from high peaks to vibrant coral reefs beneath the ocean. In Luzon, the rice terraces of the Cordilleras are a fusion of human ingenuity and natural beauty. Built over 2,000 years ago, these terraces look like stairways to the heavens. But the story of the Philippines is not just about nature. The history of this archipelago is a timeless epic. About 67,000 years ago, the first evidence of human presence was found on the island of Luzon. Indigenous tribes like the Aita have existed for millennia, preserving their unique cultures. The era of cultural exchange began when Ferdinand Magellan arrived in the Philippines in 1521, bringing with him over 300 years of Spanish influence. Religion and architecture have shaped this nation. Catholicism is deeply rooted in the lives of the people, with over 86% of the population being Catholic. In the late 19th century, the Philippines became a colony of the United States. This period ushered in modernization, from an American-style education system to infrastructure development. In 1946, the Philippines gained its independence, beginning a new chapter in its development and integration. The tropical climate of the Philippines is like an artist, constantly painting vibrant landscapes that change with the seasons. Each year, the Philippines experiences two main seasons, the dry season and the rainy season. The dry season, from December to May, brings bright sunshine and clear blue skies. From June to November, the rainy season covers the islands with torrential downpours, with an average annual rainfall of 91 inches. This period is also marked by powerful typhoons, with an average of 20 typhoons per year, some of which are among the strongest on the planet. It is these harsh conditions that have shaped a unique environment where life must adapt to survive. The biodiversity of the rainforests in the Philippines is truly astonishing. It is one of the richest ecosystems on Earth. The Philippines belongs to the group of 17 megadiverse countries, which together hold 70 to 80% of the planet's biological species. To date, over 15,000 plant species have been recorded, with about 50% being endemic. The wildlife is no less remarkable, with over 1,000 species of vertebrates and hundreds of thousands of invertebrate species. The rainforests tell a story of life and adaptation. The tamaraw, a wild dwarf buffalo, has existed for thousands of years, perfectly adapted to the rugged terrain of Mindoro Island. However, habitat loss has pushed their numbers to below 500, making them one of the most critically endangered species. Besides, the pitcher plant Nepenthes philippinensis, a unique carnivorous plant, showcases nature's creativity. With its pitcher-shaped traps filled with sweet nectar, it silently catches and consumes unsuspecting insects. In contrast, the Palawan peacock pheasant, adorned with sparkling green eyes on its feathers, is a masterpiece of natural art. In the stillness of the pristine tropical rainforests, the Philippine eagle soars high as a living symbol of the wild. With the nickname monkey-eating eagle, it appears in folklore and myths, associated with the image of a warrior protecting the ancient forests. On currency, postage stamps, and the national coat of arms, the image of the Philippine eagle is a testament to the country's independence and strength. The Philippine eagle emerged millions of years ago in an environment isolated by the ocean. This isolation created a unique evolutionary branch, where this bird developed distinct characteristics to adapt to the tropical jungle. With keen eyes that can see up to 1.8 miles, it is capable of tracking prey in the dense forests. The feathers on its head stand erect like a natural crown, accentuating its proud appearance. A wingspan of over 7 feet provides incredible agility to navigate through the narrow gaps in the forest. They are found mainly on the large islands of Luzon, Samar, Leyte and Mindanao, where the primary forests still exist. The Philippine eagle is a devoted parent. Each pair produces only one offspring every 2 years, which makes the survival of the young extremely important for the entire population. The nurturing process is not just a biological act, but also a transmission of hunting skills, helping the young to learn how to survive in a challenging world. The Philippine eagle is a highly territorial species, with each pair controlling a vast area of up to 37,000 acres. They hunt prey such as monkeys, flying lemurs, snakes, and small birds. Their hunting technique is not just based on strength, but a perfect combination of patience and strategy. It often perches motionless for hours on high branches, its sharp eyes able to detect any movement up to 1.8 miles below. Sometimes, the eagle silently stalks its prey through the canopy, taking advantage of every opening to get closer. Each dive is not only lightning fast, but also incredibly precise. With talons 4 inches long and as sharp as razors, a single strike is enough to subdue large prey like flying lemurs or monkeys. The presence of this eagle extends far beyond the role of a mere predator. Thanks to its special hunting ability, it controls the populations of species like the flying lemur and monkeys, ensuring no species becomes overpopulated. However, the story of the Philippine eagle is not just one of pride. Their current population in the wild is estimated to be only about 400 to 600 individuals. The primary forests, their home, are under serious threat from agricultural expansion and urbanization. Furthermore, illegal hunting and population fragmentation are increasingly hindering their ability to reproduce and survive. Under the dense canopy of the tropical rainforest, the tarsier hides in the darkness like a mysterious creature. Though tiny, it is blessed with extraordinary survival abilities. The presence of the tarsier is the result of millions of years of evolution in the isolated environment of the Philippine archipelago. This tropical archipelago, with its diverse flora and fauna, has allowed the tarsier to develop unique characteristics. This power comes not just from their size, but also from the unique structure of their retinas, which allows them to capture light much more effectively than the human eye. Complementing its special vision is the ability to turn its head 180 degrees, giving it a panoramic view without moving its body. However, the tarsier is not just a predator, it plays an important role in maintaining ecological balance. By controlling the insect population, it prevents the outbreak of pests, protecting the trees and vegetation. At the same time, it is also prey for larger animals like the Philippine hawk owl, contributing to the stability of the natural food chain. But its story is also one of conservation. The expansion of agricultural land, logging and habitat loss have pushed this species onto the near-threatened list of the IUCN Red List. In addition, the pressure from hunting for the pet trade or for tourism has exacerbated their precarious situation. In the wilds of the Philippines, the struggle for survival is a constant, an endless cycle of life and endurance. In the ecosystem of the Palawan rainforest, the dense canopy is both a refuge and a battlefield for countless species. The Philippine spotted deer, with its brown coat flecked with white, moves silently through the dense undergrowth. High above, the Philippine eagle soars, its wings outstretched against the sky. And hidden beneath the leaves is the Philippine tarsier, tiny but incredibly resourceful. It moves through the branches with astonishing agility. It must always evade the eagle's sharp eyes, a predator that never loses sight of its target. Along the coast of the Verde Island Passage, the heart of the Coral Triangle, a giant whale shark glides gently, a gentle giant of the sea. But not all marine inhabitants are so placid. The tiny blue-ringed octopus, despite its modest size, carries a venom potent enough to stop a human heart. In the mangrove forests of Aurora, mudskippers dance on the water's surface like acrobats, seizing every opportunity to find food. Here, the crab-eating macaque faces the devastation of typhoons and the pressure of competition from other species. Meanwhile, the saltwater crocodile lies in ambush, its patience, a testament to its formidable predatory instinct. Every moment in this vibrant land is a relentless battle for survival. And every movement is a testament to the fierce vitality of nature. But these victories are fragile, demanding steadfast protection to ensure they are not the final notes of this symphony of life. Lying along the Pacific Ring of Fire, the Philippines is one of the most seismically active regions on Earth. It is not only home to over 20 active volcanoes, but is also the meeting point of 3 massive tectonic plates. The relentless collision of these plates millions of years ago gave birth to the Philippine archipelago. This process was like a master sculptor, constantly carving, erupting, and building to create towering mountains and deep valleys. The landscape of the Philippines is a diverse tapestry, from high peaks to vibrant coral reefs beneath the ocean. In Luzon, the rice terraces of the Cordilleras are a fusion of human ingenuity and natural beauty. Built over 2,000 years ago, these terraces look like stairways to the heavens. But the story of the Philippines is not just about nature. The history of this archipelago is a timeless epic. About 67,000 years ago, the first evidence of human presence was found on the island of Luzon. Indigenous tribes like the Aita have existed for millennia, preserving their unique cultures. The era of cultural exchange began when Ferdinand Magellan arrived in the Philippines in 1521, bringing with him over 300 years of Spanish influence. Religion and architecture have shaped this nation. Catholicism is deeply rooted in the lives of the people, with over 86% of the population being Catholic. In the late 19th century, the Philippines became a colony of the United States. This period ushered in modernization, from an American-style education system to infrastructure development. In 1946, the Philippines gained its independence, beginning a new chapter in its development and integration. The tropical climate of the Philippines is like an artist, constantly painting vibrant landscapes that change with the seasons. Each year, the Philippines experiences two main seasons: the dry season and the rainy season. The dry season, from December to May, brings bright sunshine and clear blue skies. From June to November, the rainy season covers the islands with torrential downpours, with an average annual rainfall of 91 inches. This period is also marked by powerful typhoons, with an average of 20 typhoons per year, some of which are among the strongest on the planet. It is these harsh conditions that have shaped a unique environment where life must adapt to survive. The biodiversity of the rainforests in the Philippines is truly astonishing. It is one of the richest ecosystems on Earth. The Philippines belongs to the group of 17 megadiverse countries, which together hold 70 to 80% of the planet's biological species. To date, over 15,000 plant species have been recorded, with about 50% being endemic. The wildlife is no less remarkable, with over 1,000 species of vertebrates and hundreds of thousands of invertebrate species. The rainforests tell a story of life and adaptation. The tamaraw, a wild dwarf buffalo, has existed for thousands of years, perfectly adapted to the rugged terrain of Mindoro Island. However, habitat loss has pushed their numbers to below 500, making them one of the most critically endangered species. Besides, the pitcher plant Nepenthes philippinensis, a unique carnivorous plant, showcases nature's creativity. With its pitcher-shaped traps filled with sweet nectar, it silently catches and consumes unsuspecting insects. In contrast, the Palawan peacock pheasant, adorned with sparkling green eyes on its feathers, is a masterpiece of natural art. In the stillness of the pristine tropical rainforests, the Philippine eagle soars high as a living symbol of the wild. With the nickname monkey-eating eagle, it appears in folklore and myths, associated with the image of a warrior protecting the ancient forests. On currency, postage stamps, and the national coat of arms, the image of the Philippine eagle is a testament to the country's independence and strength. The Philippine eagle emerged millions of years ago in an environment isolated by the ocean. This isolation created a unique evolutionary branch, where this bird developed distinct characteristics to adapt to the tropical jungle. With keen eyes that can see up to 1.8 miles, it is capable of tracking prey in the dense forests. The feathers on its head stand erect like a natural crown, accentuating its proud appearance. A wingspan of over 7 feet provides incredible agility to navigate through the narrow gaps in the forest. They are found mainly on the large islands of Luzon, Samar, Leyte and Mindanao, where the primary forests still exist. The Philippine eagle is a devoted parent. Each pair produces only one offspring every 2 years, which makes the survival of the young extremely important for the entire population. The nurturing process is not just a biological act, but also a transmission of hunting skills, helping the young to learn how to survive in a challenging world. The Philippine eagle is a highly territorial species, with each pair controlling a vast area of up to 37,000 acres. They hunt prey such as monkeys, flying lemurs, snakes, and small birds. Their hunting technique is not just based on strength, but a perfect combination of patience and strategy. It often perches motionless for hours on high branches, its sharp eyes able to detect any movement up to 1.8 miles below. Sometimes, the eagle silently stalks its prey through the canopy, taking advantage of every opening to get closer. Each dive is not only lightning fast, but also incredibly precise. With talons 4 inches long and as sharp as razors, a single strike is enough to subdue large prey like flying lemurs or monkeys. The presence of this eagle extends far beyond the role of a mere predator. Thanks to its special hunting ability, it controls the populations of species like the flying lemur and monkeys, ensuring no species becomes overpopulated. However, the story of the Philippine eagle is not just one of pride. Their current population in the wild is estimated to be only about 400 to 600 individuals. The primary forests, their home, are under serious threat from agricultural expansion and urbanization. Furthermore, illegal hunting and population fragmentation are increasingly hindering their ability to reproduce and survive. Under the dense canopy of the tropical rainforest, the tarsier hides in the darkness like a mysterious creature. Though tiny, it is blessed with extraordinary survival abilities. The presence of the tarsier is the result of millions of years of evolution in the isolated environment of the Philippine archipelago. This tropical archipelago, with its diverse flora and fauna, has allowed the tarsier to develop unique characteristics. This power comes not just from their size, but also from the unique structure of their retinas, which allows them to capture light much more effectively than the human eye. Complementing its special vision is the ability to turn its head 180 degrees, giving it a panoramic view without moving its body. However, the tarsier is not just a predator, it plays an important role in maintaining ecological balance. By controlling the insect population, it prevents the outbreak of pests, protecting the trees and vegetation. At the same time, it is also prey for larger animals like the Philippine hawk owl, contributing to the stability of the natural food chain. But its story is also one of conservation. The expansion of agricultural land, logging and habitat loss have pushed this species onto the near-threatened list of the IUCN Red List. In addition, the pressure from hunting for the pet trade or for tourism has exacerbated their precarious situation.